We're doing spooky, scary stories.
Oh, yeah. I put the thing up on the mic.
What
It
happened?
might be loud. How do you know?
I don't know.
How do you know
Hold on,
anything?
chat. You know what we gotta do? We gotta check how I sound. Sound check.
Wait, I just turned it all the way down.
Hold on. Sound check.
I just turned it all the way down.
Okay, turn it back up.
You need to not know yourself.
But I don't know what you did. Turn it.
You make it seem like it's engineered.
I gotta see.
You make it seem like it's engineered.
I gotta see.
Hola, chat.
I gotta see.
Hola, chat.
Okay, before it crashes.
Hola, chat.
Okay, because it goes too much. Okay. Chat. When y'all get here, let me know. Y'all need to type in the chat. Let me know what I need to watch.
Look at your chat.
Chat, you right here. Oh, same time as Queso String. Oh my God. No, he's taking all my views. Buddy, I'm on the same time. Y'all, tell people on Queso String, come over here. This where it's at. Tell them this where it's at. Oh my God, my scary stories are going. You're on the wrong browser, y'all. Boom. Y'all, we watching scary. Y'all, I'm the scariest person in the world. Y'all finna get a reaction. Okay, this one new. Oh my God, I'm scared already. Oh my God. Okay.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of
The
all my
scary
tasks.
part.
I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view.
Okay,
Next, I set a priority and a due date to keep things on track.
Scariest people on earth. Let's see. Let me turn this up. Okay, chat. Do I need to make me
It was the
smaller?
summer before my senior year in college. My little brother, always interested in military stuff, had gotten a pair of night vision goggles for his birthday, and he left them in my apartment. One night I was bored, and I decided to go and try the goggles out at a wooded hiking area / nature preserve nearby. In retrospect, this seems like a very stupid idea since I was all by myself and female, but I was young and stupid, and I got myself all excited at the possibility of seeing deer and other woodland creatures in their natural nighttime habitat. I was familiar with these woods.
Okay.
My best friend and I had hiked there at night before,
They got
and
on.
we'd never run into anyone else. Our area is mostly rural and it's pretty safe, so I didn't anticipate any trouble. I parked in the little sparsely lit parking area, ignored the sign park closes at 10, and entered the woods.
Why you
Night
did
vision
this
goggles in hand. It was a half moon that night, and that was the only light that filtered down through the canopy of trees. It was pretty dark, and I didn't want to put on the goggles until I found a place to sit down, so I lit my way with the mini mag light on my keychain. A couple of times, I thought I heard a little rustling in the woods a fair distance away, but it was nothing out of the ordinary, and I put it down to animal activity. Hopefully the deer I'd come hoping to see. After I'd hiked in a fair distance, I found a fallen log to sit on and put on the goggles. I don't know if you've ever used night vision goggles before, but the effect is impressive. They can turn near pitch darkness into bright as day. Everything appears in shades of green, but quite bright and clear. For a while, I had a blast looking around from my fallen log vantage point. Some chipmunks played around in the leaves nearby, and a big owl blinked his lamp-like eyes at me from a tree branch.
So you went to the woods just to
No
do
deer
this?
though, and I started to think that maybe they wouldn't be likely to come anywhere near me, darkness or no, if I sat right out in the open on a log. So I decided to find a place where I could be a little bit more hidden. I made my way a little deeper into the woods and finally found a huge tree, perfect for climbing. I've always loved climbing trees, so it was nothing for me to hoist myself up a few branches and settle in to wait for my deer. I didn't get to see any. What I did see, though, lit up in bright night vision green after about 10 minutes of waiting was this. A man dressed head to toe in dark-colored clothing, making his way stealthily through the woods. He was coming from the same direction I'd come and was clearly trying to stay hidden, moving from tree to tree and glancing around carefully before moving on again. It looked very much like he was looking for someone. It took me a few moments to notice that he was carrying something, and when I saw what it was, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. He had a knife, a big one, and he was gripping it as if he expected to use it in the very near future. It wasn't deer hunting season, and this was a nature preserve where hunting of any kind was prohibited. And at any rate, the guy was alone and not dressed like a hunter.
Money.
There were no deer in sight, and very few hunters.
What?
It's echoing really bad.
Is echoing?
I think it's because you still got your mic on.
Oh,
Or maybe it's too loud. I don't know.
Okay, wait.
Like,
Can you
it
hear me
sounded like
now?
It was going double.
For real? How it sound now?
Nothing's
Oh wait.
They're prey with
How it
knives.
sound now?
I was suddenly horribly aware of my situation. A young woman alone.
But you
weapon-
gotta get away. Why are you stupid? Why are you stupid? Why are you stupid?
Yes, in the middle of the
Wait, is
woods
it
at
still
night.
echoing with this?
This was the 90s, so
I think it's
no
because I
cell
don't have
phones yet.
headphones.
Even if I had one, I wouldn't have felt safe using it lest I draw his attention. I didn't know how he was able to see so well in the dark.
Know.
I
Chat,
guess his
am I
eyes had just
echoing?
adjusted, and I was terrified he would look up and see me.
Hold on. Am I echoing, chat? Let me see. Chat.
I think it's fixed. I think.
I turned the mic down some. Chat. Am I echoing? Hold on. I don't know if my chat say anything.
Friends, come on, friends.
Funny. We're watching a video. We're very right. Me and my whole community is watching this.
Somebody typed in your chat. Why is it so tiny?
The video is echoing bad, but the mic isn't. Oh, it's the video.
I know it was something.
Maybe it's because I need headphones, chat. When you get some
You
headphones?
don't need headphones.
I think that's what it is, because it's hearing the thing.
I have headphones.
You don't have headphones? You don't have. I can't plug up my earpods to this?
No.
No, you don't got Bluetooth?
Bluetooth?
Chat, I can use Bluetooth on computers.
Because if you have a mic, you don't really need headphones.
No, I do need headphones, so it like don't.
Just turn
The video is echoing. Oh, maybe I should turn the desktop down. No, turn the mic down while the video is playing, and turn the desktop up. Chat, let me know how this sound.
I sat there afraid to move, afraid
Chat,
to
how
breathe,
you
and watched him as he continued his methodical and stealthy process of scanning the forest for whoever or whatever the hell he was stalking. I scanned around but couldn't see anyone else, even from my high vantage point, and the sickening thought struck me that he might be looking for me. I remembered the rustling noises I'd heard in the woods when I first arrived, and then I thought back further and remembered something else. A white car that had followed.
Okay, we good?
You kind of quiet.
Oh, it's too low? I'm gonna put it up a little bit more. Okay. Just a little bit more. Okay. Better? Echo. Okay, I feel like I'm good. We finna finish. I know. Oh,
Too close behind me for most of my drive to the nature preserve. I had been annoyed and a little freaked out at the time, but when I turned into the nature preserve parking area,
yeah.
the white car had passed me and driven on its way,
You gotta start over.
and I hadn't thought
I
anything
do,
more of it.
I'm sorry. I don't even know
Now
what
I'm
we did right.
terrified he would look up and see me,
She busted me.
weaponless, in the middle of the woods at night.
Okay.
When I saw what it was, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. He had a knife, a big one, and he was gripping it as if he expected to use it in the very near future. It wasn't deer hunting season, and this was a nature preserve where hunting of any kind was prohibited. And at any rate, the guy was alone and not dressed like a hunter anyway. There were no deer in sight, and very few hunters kill their prey with knives. I was suddenly horribly aware of my situation. A young woman alone, weaponless, in the middle of the woods at night. This was the 90s, so no cell phones yet. Even if I had one, I wouldn't have felt safe using it lest I draw his attention. I didn't know how he was able to see so well in the dark. I guess his eyes had just adjusted, and I was terrified he would look up and see me. I sat there afraid to move, afraid to breathe, and watched him as he continued his methodical and stealthy process of scanning the forest for whoever or whatever the hell he was stalking. I scanned around but couldn't see anyone else, even from my high vantage point, and the sickening thought struck me that he might be looking for me. I remember the rustling
In the
noises
trees
I'd
for
heard in
no
the
reason.
woods when I first arrived, and then I thought back further and remembered something else. A white car that had followed too close behind me for most of my drive to the nature preserve. I had been annoyed and a little freaked out at the time, but when I turned into the nature preserve parking area, the white car had passed me and driven on its way, and I hadn't thought anything more of
She
it.
get in the car that fast.
Now I wondered, horrified, if this was the driver of that car, if he'd circled back and seen my parked car alone in the lot, if he'd come in after me. I sat paralyzed with fear and watched the man for what felt like forever, but it was probably another half hour or so. There was a heart-stopping moment when he paused right underneath my tree. and I was sure he was going to look up and find me, but he didn't. After a while, he seemed to give up on whatever plan he had in mind. I heard him say, "Screw it," and he started heading back in the direction he'd come, the direction of the parking area.
You had a gun.
I stayed in the tree, wet with sweat and crying, until the sun came up a few hours later. Then I climbed down and, still terrified, gripping the little can of pepper spray on my keychain, I made my way as fast as I could to the parking lot. The man had been there. My windshield had been smashed with a rock, and somebody had scraped all down the sides of my car with something sharp, presumably a giant knife that I'm lucky didn't end up in my chest. So I'm thankful for the night vision goggles that let me see him before he could see me, and I'm thankful for big trees with sturdy branches.
Oh, these are real life stories.
Love Roblox?
Oh,
Earn Roblox digital gift cards
turn
with
this
Microsoft
off. I don't want
Rewards.
to see somebody who. Nah, I want to see the real life horror stories. That wasn't even scary, y'all. I need some recommendations. What's the scariest videos y'all have ever seen? Chat. I need the recommendations. Obviously, it's not the new ones. You gotta go to the old ones. The old ones be the best. We're not even playing nothing right now. Let me see. I don't want to see. I want to see the scary. I want to see the scary. Ooh, too nice. Y'all, really? I got the best horror stories, so I'm gonna stay there for the end. See, the people who stay, they're gonna hear about how my house is haunted. I'm gonna tell my stories. I think my story's better than all these. Low key, I'm gonna put in mine. They're gonna animate mine. Mine's so good, instantly. Million views. Actually, more than all these. My stuff's so good. I need something scary. What's this? That's an hour long. Let's see. It's animated. Let's see. Scary stories. Y'all, I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to do it no more. Okay. Ooh. This one looks scary. Come on, y'all. Let's watch it. Unexplainable childhood memories. Story 1. Anonymous.
When I was about 9 years old, I lived with my mom and little sister in a small house in a quiet town. The street was mostly safe, and kids would ride their bikes outside in the summer. But even back then, there were things that didn't feel right about the house. My mom used to say it was old, and old houses make noises. But some of the things I remember from that time didn't sound like house noises. They sound like something else. Something I still don't really know how to explain. The first thing started one night when I couldn't sleep. I was lying in my bed with a blanket pulled up to my chin, staring at the little glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling. My room wasn't very big, just a bed, a dresser, and a toy chest near the window. I remember looking at the shadows on the wall from the trees outside. The branches swayed whenever the wind blew, and I told myself that's what I was seeing. But then I noticed one shadow wasn't moving like the others. It was in the corner, down low near my toy chest. At first, I thought it was a pile of clothes or one of my big stuffed animals. I almost laughed at myself because I thought I was just being a scared kid, but then I blinked and the shadow was gone. I remember feeling cold, like the kind of cold that comes from the inside of your body, not the air. I pulled the blanket over my head and fell asleep. The next morning, I didn't even think about it until I saw my toy chest. It was standing open, like someone had been looking inside. I never left it open because my mom would yell if toys spilled out. I closed it and didn't say anything. A few weeks later, my sister, who was only 5, told my mom she didn't like the man in the closet. I basically froze when she said it because she said it so casually, as if it were just a fact. My mom brushed it off and said little kids imagine things, but I saw my sister's face, and I could tell she wasn't making it up. She said he would stand in the closet at night and whisper, but she couldn't hear the words. My mom tucked her in that night and said a prayer with her, but she didn't check the closet. Later that night, I woke up because I heard something dragging across my floor, like someone pulling their nails across the wood. I was too scared to move, but the sound stopped right by my bed. I was sure if I looked over the side, I'd see something staring up at me. I just froze there, clutching the blanket until I fell asleep again.
Do you see something?
The next morning, there were long scratches on the floor right by the side of my bed.
Let me know.
They were fresh, like someone had carved into the wood. I remember running to show my mom, but she got angry. She said I must have been playing with something sharp or dragging furniture. I swore I hadn't, but she didn't believe me. After that, the nights got worse. I would hear faint whispers, almost like a radio on low volume, and it would come from my closet. Sometimes my sister would cry in her room, and when I ran in, she would be pointing at the corner, saying, "He's there, he's there." I never saw him,
The mom
but I
always be
believed
like they
her.
lying. Like,
You know when someone's watching you and the hairs on your arms stand up? That's how it felt. The scariest night was in the middle of winter. I woke up and saw my bedroom door was open, even though I always shut it tight. I could see the hallway light because my mom left one on for us at night. But then, as I watched, the light in the hall went out. I thought maybe the bulb turned out. Then I heard footsteps coming down the hall. They stopped outside my door. I wanted to scream for my mom, but nothing came out. The door creaked, and I saw a tall, dark shape lean in. Just its head looking into the room. I shut my eyes and pretended to be asleep.
I didn't know this was gonna show
When
up.
I opened them again,
Wait, come
the
back.
door was
Don't
closed
leave
and I was
me.
alone.
Grown-up perks, zero grown-up
Break time
stress.
for
With
ads.
AAA, it pays to be a member.
time for
You
ads.
seeing this?
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it.
Yeah.
Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform.
In the morning, I asked my mom if she had come into my room. She said no, she had been asleep all night. My sister said she saw the man again standing by her bed. We told my mom together, and she finally looked worried. She lit a candle and said a prayer in each room of the house. Things were quiet for a little while after that, but it didn't last. One afternoon, I came home from school before my mom. I was sitting on the couch doing homework when I heard the sound of the toy chest in my room slam shut. The thing is, nobody else was home.
Ooh.
I hoped it was just the wind, but when I walked down the hall, I saw my bedroom door was wide open. My toy chest was closed, but all my toys were scattered on the floor like someone had dumped them out. I backed away and waited outside until my mom came home. When I told her, she still didn't believe me and said the cat knocked things over. Years later, after we moved out, I asked my mom if she ever experienced anything in that house. She hesitated, then said yes. She said sometimes she would wake up and see a shadow standing in her doorway. She said she never told us because she didn't want to scare us, but she admitted she believed there was something wrong with that house. She said she thought it was a man, someone who used to live there.
Thank you for
She never said much more, but I know what I saw.
Quiet,
and
girl.
I
I'm
know what my
scared.
sister saw too.
Girl,
Even
no,
now, as
quiet.
an adult, when I think about that
I'm over here eating
time,
my
I feel
pizza
sick in my
without
stomach.
talking about.
It wasn't imagination. It was something real, and it wanted us to know it was there.
Bro, this sounds like
Sometimes
my
late at
house.
night when I
I've
can't
been through
sleep,
this before.
I still hear the sound of
Like-
nails dragging across the floor.
Dude. So the mama did know what's going on. Telling these kids they crazy. No. Oh my God. Like my old. I'm gonna tell y'all the story. Hold on. What happened? The ghosts. They trying to get me to shut up. I told y'all. But y'all, the ghosts I had in my old house, like you know how you said he seen shadows? Prince, I know. You scared too. But don't let the ghosts hear me. I don't supposed to be telling their business. But when I was younger, it would be this one shower, like one shadow just staring at me. But it was after my granny died. Like before, I always saw my door open and it wasn't no shadow. It was like as soon as she died, it would be a shadow sitting right there in my door, just looking at me every night. I told my mama, she was like, it's just nothing there. It's just a shadow. I was like, well, what shadow is there? No shadow just pop up out of nowhere. If it was a shadow, what's making a shadow? I ain't get nothing new in my room. But yeah, I ain't gonna say all the deep. Yeah, I gotta stay to the end and hear the deep. Next story.
When I was 10 years old, my family moved into a bigger house because my mom had just gotten remarried and we needed more space.
Okay.
The house was nice. newer than the one we lived in before, and it was in a quiet neighborhood with a lot of trees. I thought I would be happy there.
Okay.
At first, everything seemed normal, but then little things started happening that made me feel like the house wasn't right. My bedroom was at the end of the hall. It had 2 big windows that faced the backyard and a closet that was deeper than the one I had before. I liked it, until the first night I slept there. I woke up around midnight because I heard something moving in the closet. It wasn't loud, just soft shuffling like clothes being brushed against. I stared at the closet and told myself it was just the house settling. I know it sounds cliche, but most people, even as children, would assume small sounds coming from here and there in a house are just typical house noises that you hear every day. But then I saw the door move. It didn't swing open, but it shivered like someone had lightly pressed on it from the inside. I wanted to run to my mom's room, but I was frozen. I stayed that way until I fell back asleep, still staring at the closet. The next morning, the closet door was cracked open just a little, even though I had shut it tight. I asked my mom if she had gone in there, and she said no. She said maybe the air vents pushed it, but I knew it wasn't the air vents. The nights after that got worse. I started hearing tapping on the window glass. At first, I thought it was tree branches, but when I looked, there were no branches near the window. The tapping would go on for minutes, and when I pulled the blanket over my head, it would stop. I tried to ignore it until one night I finally peeked out. I saw a pale hand pressed against the window. It was on the outside, but the window was on the 2nd floor, way too high for anyone to reach without a ladder. The hand stayed there for a long time, just pressed, without moving. Then it slid down slowly and disappeared.
Stop taking meeting notes and let ClickUp AI Note Taker do it for you. It allows you to focus on your meetings, not your notes. It captures everything, from action items.
I didn't sleep at all that night. I told my mom, and she started cracking up laughing when I told her. She didn't believe me for a second. When she saw that I wasn't just saying it as a prank or a joke, she leaned more into trying to convince me that I was probably in a half-asleep state and seeing things from my dream, but I knew that was a load of horseshit. My stepdad didn't believe me either. He said I was making it up for attention, and he also got a laugh out of it. But I started noticing he kept the hallway light on at night, so maybe he didn't feel as safe as he pretended. A month later, my little brother, who was 4, started talking about the White Lady. He would say she came into his room and sat on his bed. My mom thought it was just his imagination, but one night I heard him screaming. I ran in and saw him curled up under his blanket crying. When he finally calmed down, he said the White Lady had been standing by his door, just staring at him. He said her eyes were all black. I believed him because of what I had seen at my window. I started sleeping with the blanket over my head every night, but that didn't stop the dreams. I began to dream of the White Lady too. She would stand in the corner of my room and whisper my name. Her voice was dry, like leaves rubbing together. Sometimes I would wake up and still hear it, faint but definitely real. One night I woke up and saw her standing at the foot of my bed. She was taller than anyone I had ever seen. Her head almost touched the ceiling. She wore a long white dress that moved even though the air was still. Her hair was black and stringy, and her face was pale like chalk. Her eyes were like empty black holes. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. I shut my eyes, and when I opened them again, she was gone. But my closet door was wide open. Ceiling. She wore a long white dress that moved even though the air was still. Her hair was black and stringy, and her face was pale like chalk. Her eyes were like empty black holes. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. I shut my eyes, and when I opened them again, she was gone. But my closet door was wide open. After that, I couldn't go in my closet anymore. I begged my mom to let me sleep in her room, but she said I need to learn how to be brave. I think she didn't want to admit she was scared too. The worst night came during a storm, heavy rain and loud wind. I woke up to the sound of my window creaking. When I looked, the window was slowly sliding open, even though it was locked. I could see the lock turning by itself. The window opened all the way, and I saw the White Lady climb in. She didn't move like a person. She floated. Her feet never touched the floor. She drifted toward my bed and leaned down until her face was right in front of mine. I felt her cold breath on my skin. She whispered my name again, and this time I screamed as loud as I could. My mom and stepdad came running in, but when they turned on the light, the window was closed and locked and no one else was there. They yelled at me for scaring everyone, but I could see in their faces that they were worried. The weird thing about that part of the story is that I don't vividly remember what happened between the moment I saw that lady floating towards me and my screaming. The best I can explain it is that I sort of blacked out for a moment before remembering screaming and having my parents rush into the room. My window was closed again, which would suggest to people that it was just a night terror. That's what my parents believed it was, I think. My mom started taking me to therapy for a while because they were worried about me. We lived in that house for 3 more years, and I never got used to it. My brother stopped talking about the white lady, but I think it was because he was too scared, not because she stopped visiting. Sometimes I would hear him crying at night and saying, "Go away." I think he just also didn't want to be forced into going to therapy. Sometimes when it storms at night, I still get scared to even get up to go to the bathroom or get water. I'll glance over at corners of the room, making sure I don't see something tall lurking there. It goes to show how these kinds of things stick with you into adulthood. I'd be more open to believing it was simply night terrors if it weren't for the fact that I saw that hand on my window before my little brother even first mentioned the white lady. I guess this is just one of those freakish experiences that cannot be explained.
Where you going? Okay, y'all. My bad. Why y'all tilted? I can't, cause I tilted. My bad. Y'all, let me fix this up for y'all. Don't worry, y'all. Big Allie got y'all. Big Allie. Hold on. I think I got it. So wrong. I don't know why it's like that, chat. Chat, is this cool? Chat, is this cool? I think it's cool, chat. Mr. Nightmare is in the right spot. I can see. Oh, y'all can't see the bottom, but y'all don't even need that. Low-key. Do y'all need that, chat? No? No. Story 3.
In Albion, no matter where you go or what you do, your mount will accompany you on your journey. Perhaps you'll pick the ox, a merchant's best friend. It can carry anything you throw at it. Anything. Okay, maybe not that much. Or the fear.
When I was 8, I rode my bike every day after school. I lived on a quiet street with small houses and big trees.
Yeah, it's not centered, but it's okay.
I learned every crack in the sidewalk. I learned where the mailman stopped. One house I liked was down the block. I had to ride near the corner of the block to get a view of the yard. There was a long driveway and a wide lawn. An older man stood in that driveway most afternoons. He'd always wear a hat, and he'd stand where the driveway met the sidewalk and look down the street. When I rode by, he would say hi. He never came onto the sidewalk. He never stepped off his driveway. He would call out and wave and then go back to watching his yard. I always waved back. My mother told me to never cross the street by myself, so I never crossed to actually speak to the man face to face, and the man knew that. He would call to me from his place and ask about school. He would ask about my bike. He asked if I liked the bell on my new red bike. I even remember once he told me a joke about a cat that made me laugh. We talked for weeks like that. The conversations were short. They were always from his driveway to the curb. He seemed to know small things about me without me saying them. For example, the fact that I had a little brother, or my dad got a new car. I never told him these things. I thought maybe he had seen us from down the block or something, like he was just a neighbor who watched the street. One day I got a brand new bike. It was red with a shiny bell, like I mentioned before. I rode down the block slow and he called out, "Nice bike." He asked if I wanted to race to the corner. I told him no because my mom would be angry. He smiled and said one day. After that, we talked about small things. He told me about a bird that liked his fence, and then about a rule about never stepping on a certain stone. Then he told me a story about a dog that would always bring a slipper back. He sounded like someone who had time to watch small things. I started looking for him when I was on my bike. Some afternoons he was there and sometimes he wasn't. Then one week, he stopped coming out. I rode down the block past the house and no one stood there. The curtains in the front window were closed. I slowed down and looked at the driveway, and it was kind of weird not seeing the man there. I wanted to ask my mother if I could cross the street. She said no. She said the road was not for unsupervised kids. Anyway, a few days later, I saw a woman in the backyard of that house. I had never seen anyone in that yard before. I had to ride around the corner to see her. She had her hair tied back, and she held a watering can, so I had to assume she was watering flowers back there. I stopped my bike down the street so she would not see me too close. I wanted to call across the road like I always did, but I didn't. I don't know if I was too shy or scared of what my mother would say if I were staying out too late. The woman didn't seem to notice me any more than I noticed her, though. A few days later, I rode by again, and the woman was on the back porch. She had a mug in her hands. I sat on my bike and watched for a bit. Then she opened a small side door and went around the house. I pedaled slowly to the corner and waited where the sidewalk curved. I looked down the block just to ensure my mom wasn't outside. Then I decided I would quickly cross the street. I pushed my pedals and crossed like my life depended on it. The house looked bigger from up close. The driveway was long and sloped down to the road. I felt like I was not allowed to be there. I stopped at the end of the driveway near the back gate. The woman heard me. She turned and saw a small boy with a red bike standing at the gate. She looked surprised, but not angry. She came to the gate and opened it, and she asked what I was doing back there. I told her about the man on the driveway, and that he would used to say hi when I would bike past. I told her he knew my name, and that he said he would race me one day. She wiped her hands on her dress like she had been working, and then said the man I described sounded like her husband. I smiled, thinking she would say he went on a trip or he's inside and she'll go get him, but she didn't smile. She said he had died the year before. She said he died in his chair. His name was Harold. I felt a cold space open in my chest. I asked her if she had a picture. I wanted to see him. She went inside and returned with a small frame. The photograph showed a man with the same hat and the same broad smile. He actually bore a resemblance to the man I'd always seen. Then the woman said the photo was new, taken only a couple of years ago. She said her husband had a scar across his cheek since he was young. I looked at the photo close, and the man in the picture had a thin, pale scar from ear to mouth. I remembered the man on the driveway. He had no scar. He had a round, plain face and smooth skin. The hat matched and the smile matched, but the scar did not. I told her I once saw a mark on the man's face, but I thought he rubbed his cheek once. She said that that scar had been there for a long time, but that he'd hide it under stubble sometimes. She said again that her husband had died and that no one else lived in the house. She said she had moved back last summer to take care of the garden, and that she's never seen or heard anyone standing in the driveway. I honestly started to get kind of scared at this point. I thanked her and backed down the driveway. I didn't look back into the yard again. I rode home slow and put the bike in the garage. The bike ride back was kind of like how when you almost get into a car accident, you'll drive home the rest of the way in silence with the radio off. My mom didn't ask any questions when I got home. She just told me to be careful. That night I couldn't sleep. I thought about the man with the hat. I thought about his laugh and the way he said my name, and I thought about the scar in the photograph.
We said, like,
Peter Van here. You know, I thought growing up would be the worst. But then I found a way to hack adulthood. It's called AAA. With AAA, it's all about the perks. Just like being a kid, except with better snacks and no bedtime.
The next day, I went by the house and the curtains were open. Sunlight touched the porch and driveway, but no one stood in the driveway.
I'm sorry, I keep hearing.
I waved from the corner, but no one waved back, so I pedaled away. For a while, nothing else happened. I tried to forget. I made new routes on my bike. I talked with kids on other blocks. Weeks passed. Then one night, I woke up and heard my name. It sounded like someone outside the house near my window. The voice was familiar. It said my name like the man across the street used to say it. I sat up fast and my head started spinning. Over the light sound of raindrops outside, I knew for a fact I was hearing my name being repeatedly called. I shouted for my mother and then threw the covers over myself, hiding. She came in a hurry and sat by the bed. I told her about the voice outside my window. She rubbed my back and told me it was the wind. To make me feel better, she went to the window and lifted the blinds. She said there wasn't anyone out there, so I went over to check myself. There was a light rain outside, but other than that, my mom was right. My father got up and checked the locks to the windows and doors. He looked outside with a flashlight, which made me feel better. They said there was no one out there. When I insisted I heard a voice, they said perhaps the most typical thing a parent would say to a scared child, that I dreamed it. The next morning, my throat hurt from shouting the night before. I told my friends at school, and they laughed at me for implying I believed in ghosts. One friend dared me to stand in the driveway of that house at night and call his name. I did not take that dare. Days passed and nothing happened, so I moved on. The years went on and the street changed. Houses sold and the woman's house stood empty for a little while. I once saw movers taking boxes out. Later on, new people were painting the front. The long driveway was still there, but it had new cars. I rode past and did not look for a man in a hat. I got older. I learned other routes. I learned the names of new neighbors and their dogs, and eventually, at the age of 18, I moved out for college. I never moved back to that house because my parents sold it while I was in college, but the memory of that man sits like a small stone in my chest.
So you never seen him
I
since?
wonder why I didn't ask the woman for more pictures or go back to press her for more details. I guess in that moment, I was scared to wonder if I'd been talking to a ghost. I didn't cross that street again for a long time. I told this story to 1 or 2 people later in life, and they even asked why I didn't go back and ask that woman more, or why I didn't tell the woman everything I remembered. Maybe they were right. Maybe I should have been braver. Maybe I should have asked more questions about the scar or to see a wedding photo. But I was 8. I wasn't really thinking that way. A few years ago, I drove down the block just for the hell of it. A child was riding a bike near the corner. The driveway was empty. For a moment, I wanted to stop. I wanted to ask if anyone had stood there and said hi. I wanted to know if anyone else had heard a voice in the rain. I wanted a small answer that would close the gap. But I didn't stop. I just kept driving. The memory stays as it was, and I try my best to suppress it these days.
Shut up, because you ain't asking more questions. Like, if you ain't want to figure it out, why are you telling me? Anyways, who's talking in the chat? What's up, chat? Hey, I should do a Q&A? Yes, y'all. Let's do a Q&A. Y'all, we're going to do a Q&A.
I want y'all to spam questions in the chat.
And I'm going to respond to them.
Let me know. Get it all off your chest.
Let me know anything, and I'm going to respond. So, whenever I start seeing some questions, I'll start responding. I'm low-key scared. This disturbed me, but
I promise y'all some story times.
So before we get into the Sims, I don't know how much. Wait. Yeah, we got like 30 minutes. Let me check out this story real quick. While my Sims load up. Let's load up Sims. Let's load up Sims to get this off our mind. Hold on. I gotta do this first before I load up Sims. Y'all. Let me tell y'all my story. Y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all the one that happened in this room right here. So in this room, this used to be my room. Right now, it's not my room. It's my sister's room. But it used to be 2 beds in here, like this. One right here, and the other one right there, but on the back right here, like this. But so we was in here watching scary movies. We was in here watching scary movies or something. I don't think we was watching scary movies. We were watching movies in here with my cousin. And then it was like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. Nobody else in the house was up. It was just us. And we heard some footsteps coming up the stairs. It was like, who coming up the stairs? Everybody's asleep. It was like Katie, our mom, and them, because they're asleep. We were just down there. It's not our little sisters in them. We know they're asleep because we was just in the hallways and stuff. But, so we scared, not opening the door, not going down there because we know. Y'all, I'm scared. What the chat say? Hold on, I gotta read you over here. Yeah, that scared me. I gotta stop talking about it for a while.
Do you think about value before pricing? Yes, you always think about the value of your product before pricing your product. Because people only buy your product if it's valuable to them. Yes, I'm in business class. Yes, I know about value and pricing. Yes, I could give you a whole education about that stuff. Just let me know if you want it and I'll give it to you. And back to what I was saying. Back to EA. It was so yeah, we were scared to open the door because we was like everybody sleep. And boom, you hear somebody rattle the door and they twist the knob like this. Boy, all of us dive to the other bed. We sitting on the bed over here by the door. We get up and we dive across the other bed sitting right here. Like full on face head dive, scared for our lives, kinda dive. Like that was the scariest thing I've ever experienced. And then like after that, we all made a run for it, like so we can go back to our room. Well, my cousin go back to our room because it's hot, you know. But this was my room too. But like we had seen that like everybody was asleep, like crazy. Let me put y'all back on this. But do y'all believe in ghosts? No, just me. No, I totally believe in the paranormal because like it's just too real to not believe in it. Where did my EA go? Where my y'all? We just had Sims up, did we not? Like, hold on. Oh, hey, y'all. We don't even have a lot of time left, but we gonna do something. Why y'all cropped? Come on, let me fix y'all real quick. I thought it been cropped. I don't know why it like that. So y'all chat. Chat, let me know if y'all cropped. Or is it full screen? Am I tripping or does it look cropped? Chat, I don't know what to do. Chat, is it cropped? What makes discipline effortless for you when others struggles? And what daily action proves you're aligned? Let me see. Y'all asking me deep questions, but yeah, I'm very deep. Now fix y'all though. Y'all, is this cropped to y'all? I'm not tripping. It looks very cropped. I'm gonna fix this. It's not even broken, chat. I don't know what's wrong with it. Like, it only gets cropped when we go there. It's 100% cool. I don't know. Yeah, y'all might have to just be cropped. I don't know. It's just. Let me see what you said. Chat. Boom. What makes discipline effortless for you when others struggle? And what daily action proves that proves to you that you're aligned? Let me tell you. What makes discipline effortless? You gotta think about the future. If you think about how you're gonna get some money, if you just think about like if you're gonna be broke, it's gonna make you want to get some money. Like I'm telling you, you're gonna want to get some money. And that's what puts you in that. That what makes discipline effortless for me. Knowing where I want to be. What daily action proves to me that I'm aligned? Me doing it. As long as I do it, that proves to me that I'm aligned. Yup. That's it. That's what I have to say. That's my TED Talk. We gotta go back to Sims.